Good evening and welcome. I would like to open the public portion of the May 14th, 2025 Richfield Park Board of Education monthly meeting. The time is now 7:20. Let's begin with a salute to the flag. Mr. Bison, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
The New Jersey Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Richfield Park Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Bergen Record, Star Ledger, Municipal Building, Board of Education offices, and district website. Now, surrounding public participation. Participation will be conducted both in person and virtually through Zoom. All public will be muted throughout the meeting. Public participation comments are limited to 5 minutes. The public will be able to both speak and be seen by the board when participating virtually or telephonically via the Zoom. Individuals participating virtually that wish to make comments during the public participation will need to raise their hand by clicking the blue hand icon at the bottom of the Zoom window. Individuals participating by telephone that wish to make comments during the public participation will need to hit *9 on their telephone to raise their hand. The business administrator, board secretary will then unmute individuals one at a time to speak in the order that their hand was raised.
Thank you, Mr. Bison. Can I please have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Mr. Vitros, absent. Ms. McNeil,
Here.
Mr. Malou,
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Here.
Ms. Schmidt,
Here.
Ms. Velez, absent. Ms. Orth,
Here.
President Martinez.
Here, we have a quorum. We have no minutes to move. Communications from the public. It was pointed out to me last month that I forgot that we received a letter from Ms. Flynn, who requested that board members be more visible at school events. Dr. Espignani was able to have a dialogue with Ms. Flynn. I'd like to just say that this board is actually very, very active at many of the events. Actually, the event in question had 3 board members there. The brief statement that I'll make is that unlike, well, I won't talk about passports, but this board really does not like to have the spotlight in the front of the room. It's actually very awkward for most of us. Most board members have told me they feel pretty awkward sitting in the front in that little area set aside for board members. But we are as active as we can be. I'll also note that on this board you have we have 2 teachers, 2 principals who have events at their own schools in addition to their own children. But we will try to do better as always. We'll now move on to subcommittee reports. Buildings and Grounds, Trustee Cooney.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to quickly recognize that last week we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week, also known as Staff Appreciation Week. I just wanted to thank all of our amazing staff members for all that they do for our children. They treat our students as if they were their own children, which is amazing, and just proves that this place is really a truly special place. So thank you for all that you do. On to the B&G report. Discussion about ROD grants. AMCO Enterprises won the bidding process and was awarded the bid during the April 30th meeting. The winning bid was $1,711,000, with the alternate option number 1 being selected. Includes an upgraded light package for the cafeteria. It should look amazing, and an additional $33,000. The total bid for the junior senior high school ROD project is $1,744,000. The Fund 30 budget allocation for this project was $2.69 million. The approved project scope came in underestimated, and this leaves a running unexpended balance of $947,000 estimated. This pending unexpended balance can be reallocated if moved to the other ROD project or placed back into the capital reserve account at the end of the year audit. Grant and Roosevelt Elementary Schools, both of the projects will be going to bid shortly, early next month. They are budgeted for. The Grant School budget amount is $595,060, and the Roosevelt budget amount is $347,060. The junior senior academic wing roof replacement project scheduled to go bid shortly. The project budgeted amount is $1,756,000. The architectural cost is budgeted at $156,000. Tomorrow is the bid walkthrough for this project. And the next B&G meeting is scheduled for June 9th, 2025. And that concludes the B&G report. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Cooney. We did not have a policy committee meeting this month, but Finance and Insurance, Trustee McNeil.
Thank you. The Finance Committee met on May 5th at 6 p.m. Dr. V, Ms. Triglia, Mr. Beisig, Dr. Martinez, Trustees Velez and Malul and myself were all in attendance. As was discussed on the buildings and grounds, we also discussed the ROD grants, and the bid award was complete for junior senior high school. We're pending the response for Roosevelt and Grant to ensure that all of that fits within the budgeted amounts that we have. We discussed the process for the Finance Committee to review financial reports before they're placed on the agenda to be voted upon. I think that was some really healthy conversation on how we will operate as a committee go forward, especially once we are out of monitorship. We discussed the unaffiliated staff structure, both for financial impact and organization effectiveness, and then had some confidential conversation regarding contracts. Lastly, we were advised that there were 3 more meetings with the federal grant collaborative audit process that were taking place the week of the 5th to conclude that process. Our next meeting is June 9th.
Thank you, Trustee McNeil. Faculty and Programs, Trustee Kraft.
Good evening. The Faculty and Programs Committee met on May 5th at 5 p.m. Present were Dr. Vespignani, Ms. Triglia, Dr. Martinez, Trustee Rodriguez, Trustee Velez, and Trustee Schmidt. I want to thank Trustee Schmidt for stepping in on this committee and Trustee Velez for chairing it for me. Items discussed, the first thing was the RPEA coaching sidebar. Dr. Vespignani reported that due to the growing enrollment, there will be a need to hire a freshman boys soccer coach. Dr. Vespignani also made his recommendations for tenure that all will be on today's agenda. He discussed the current vacancies with the committee. Dr. Vespignani also discussed at great length some of the new job descriptions that have already been approved by the county superintendent, and all of those job descriptions were discussed via committee. In addition, we discussed contract distribution via Frontline Central, that this is a secure way to send contracts electronically, and we'll move away from sending contracts via interoffice mail. We've received a committee report update on pre-K. We have received a large number of registrations, and the administration is currently processing all of the applications. FAFSA, the completion update, students who did not complete their FAFSA will need to complete a waiver, and we discuss unaffiliated staff and their contracts. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 10th.
Thank you, Trustee Kraft. And without further ado, before I forward it to the superintendent, I'll just say I'm sure that was very interesting to you guys, but I'll say, since you are a civics class, much of what happens in government is really not that exciting when you just listen to the words. But if you go home and you ask your parents how much they pay for property taxes, they will give you a number that's horrifying. And what you need to realize is that this board up here is going to allocate about 60% of what your parents spend in their property taxes. So the decisions, the numbers that you heard up here and the decisions that were made up here are going to affect your parents' property taxes. So I know some of it went above your head, but this is really important, and we're really glad to have you guys here. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to the superintendent.
Thank you, President Martinez, and good evening to the board and our community. Thank you for those who are joining us in public and those virtually as well. First, I respectfully submit the HIB report that was presented to the board in executive session. In addition, I'm pleased to report that the 23-24 district and school official HIB grade report was confirmed by the commissioner. What was submitted by the district in terms of the self-assessment was confirmed by the Commissioner of Education with a district grade of 73. Grant had a score of 72, Lincoln 73, Roosevelt 73, and the junior senior high school in 74. The board and committee may recall that these same numbers were presented at the October board meeting, and there's a requirement to report it back out again after the commissioner approval. In school news, in our pre-K 6 building, special thank you to our PTA and parents for their generous support during Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. We really appreciate that. State testing is nearly behind us, and just as a friendly reminder, students must come to school ready to learn each day. Be punctual and on time. Please make sure your children continue their learning and become the most prepared for the upcoming school year. In other words, we don't want to look at it as now that state testing is close to being concluded. We want to continue, and there's still much learning for the balance of the school year prior to the summer break. And congratulations to our kindergarten through second grade students of Roosevelt School for entering a piece of their art portfolio in an exhibit held in the municipal building here in Richfield Park. Every one of the 135 students had an opportunity to pick the piece that they wanted to represent themselves. The exhibit opened on Tuesday of this week and will remain in the municipal building until June 10th. Ms. Nebor and Ms. Cato worked with the Richfield Park Arts Association to make this event happen, and we're hopeful to continue exhibiting artwork from our students from our schools. I had the pleasure of attending the event yesterday with my own children, and I know they really enjoyed it, and the artwork was really, really great, so I appreciate everyone's efforts on pulling that together. And at the junior senior high school, congratulations to 17 seniors who completed the early college program and earned their associate's degree through the partnership between the junior senior high school and the Bergen Community College. Well done. I wanted to provide the board and community with a brief pre-K update. We, as you may recall, are expanding with an additional 2 classrooms this year, which is really great. So we're anticipated to have 12 total classrooms this year. When I first arrived 2 years ago, we had 5. Including our provider sites, but next year we should be increasing that to 12. At present, we have 10. Despite the fact that we are expanding from a facility perspective, we did have a very large turnout in terms of registration for our pre-K and pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 families. It's a good problem to have. Awareness is spreading that we're offering tuition-free pre-K for our youngest learners. But despite the expansion in terms of facilities, it is a possibility that we may need to have a lottery for our pre-K 3 age students. As we have done last year and into this year, we are giving priority to our pre-K 4 students as they transition then to kindergarten. So we're monitoring registration, but families should anticipate communication over the course of the next few weeks, and all information will be shared if there is a need for a lottery. I also wanted to provide an update on the mission statement. You may have seen that a poll was included in our last digital newsletter. If you haven't participated in the poll, it's your opportunity to confirm, thumbs up, thumbs down, if you like the new revised mission statement. So please reference the district digital newsletter to cast your vote. Once concluded on Friday, we'll take a look at those results to see if there's any refinement, and I'm anticipating making a recommendation to the Board of Education on the June 18th meeting as part of our rebranding initiative to have a revised mission statement. We are also anticipating sending another survey to our community in regard to 7th and 8th grade. In my time here in Richfield Park, I've had quite a few conversations in regards to the structure of the junior senior high school. So I felt it was prudent to survey the community to learn more about the perspectives of various stakeholders. We anticipate sending that to students, staff, and of course, families to get some input in regard to the perspective on whether or not 7th and 8th grade should be included within the building of the junior senior high school. That may help us and drive decisions in the future, but first we wanted to canvass our community to learn more about your perspectives. I wanted to turn some attention to 2 agenda items. First, we do have a resignation that I wanted to point out and thank. Mr. Jonathan Dempsey has been with the district for coming up on 2 years now. Mr. Dempsey has served as the confidential human resources assistant. I'd spoken with Mr. Dempsey, and he confirmed that it would be okay for me to share that he has taken employment and has elevated his career to a business administrator position. So I just wanted to pause and thank Mr. Dempsey. You know, this was a district in serious need of standard operating procedures in all things related to personnel, particularly in our hiring processes. And I've implemented a lot of those, strategic vision type of programs, but the day-to-day operations of HR, Mr. Dempsey has done just a really incredible job in monitoring that. And I just wanted to publicly thank him for his service to the students and staff of the Richfield Park Public Schools. So all the best to Mr. Dempsey in his continued career path. As a result, and you may recall in the previous agenda, we thanked my administrative assistant, Ms. Karen Koenig. She is retiring effective at the end of this academic school year. I've made a recommendation to the board to not fill those two positions and to condense into one position, which is why you see a human resources / office manager job description on the agenda this evening. Pending the board's approval, we will then have a thorough, objective interview process for both internal and external candidates. And hopefully we generate a really solid candidate pool, and I'm hopeful to make a recommendation to the board for the position on the June 18th agenda. And turn it over to some student-related items. I want to welcome and thank our student reps for joining us, and we're happy to hear your report.
Good evening. My name is Zoe Tavares, and I am the Student Government Vice President.
And I'm Lourdes Nova, the Senior Class Vice President.
There are many classes headed out for end-of-the-year trips this month. Here are some recaps from the last few weeks. First, Mr. Singer and the Business CTE program students had the opportunity to visit Netflix's New York office for an immersive field trip. The 5-hour experience included office tour, presentations from various Netflix professionals in technology and media roles, and a panel discussion. It provided students with valuable insights into potential career pathways in the industry. On May 2nd, students participated in an 80-minute workshop at the Apple Store in Garden State Plaza Mall. They explored the capabilities of Apple's Freeform app, a cutting-edge productivity and presentation tool. After learning about the app's tools and capabilities, they applied their newfound skills by collaboratively brainstorming ideas for products. Eventually, they created presentations for innovative, eco-friendly products aimed at teenagers, combining technology skills with environmental awareness and entrepreneurial thinking. The Royal Scarlets Chorus had the opportunity to serve the community by performing their concert set for the senior citizens at the Civic Center. The seniors were very excited to see the students perform, and the students were very thankful to have been able to share what they have been rehearsing with the public. Mr. Steffen's aviation class was exposed to everything aviation outside of the typical fields, such as pilots and flight attendants. They received a demonstration from Drug Sniffing Dog by the U.S. Customs and Borders Department. They were allowed to walk around the hangar of Paramount Productions and explore their global jet, talk and meet fixed space operators who manage private and corporate aircraft, speak with fuel suppliers, and go into huge number of removal machines and talk with ground maintenance, speak with airport security and management, and talk with the airport fire department, and so much more, including a demonstration by Walking Drone Dog. The trip was about exposing them to a much wider world of aviation opportunities.
The 7th grade class attended a trip to Camp Bernie earlier this month. This trip was a really fun opportunity to be outside and connect with classmates. Students participated in archery, a low ropes course, and what the YMCA calls high Y, where they walked the tightrope that was high up. While connected to a harness, students enjoyed being out of the classroom and interacting with phone-free with their peers. Lands on the Preserve was a collaboration between the Richfield Park Environmental Commission and the Richfield Park Junior-Senior High School digital photography students, overseen by Ms. Duran and Mr. Coletto. Mr. Coletto's students submitted photographs highlighting the beauty of the nature preserve, and the winners from fall, winter, and spring were honored in a ceremony at the nature preserve, which was catered by our very own Chirp Cafe students. For the second time this year, students were brought to the Bergen County offices to be trained election poll workers. These students will have a chance to work at the upcoming election and any future election. Our spring sports season is in full swing. The spring track wrapped up the dual meet season and competed in the first of their championship meets. 20 track athletes earned medals at the Big North American Division Championships, and 13 have earned all division honors. The team is expected to do very well at the upcoming county group championships, Bergen County Meet of Champions, and state sectional championships in the next 2 weeks. The boys tennis team has been battling both their opponents and the weather. The team continues to improve every day with no seniors and 9 players receiving varsity letters. The future of the program is bright. The Lady Scarlets softball team is 18-2. They will be playing in the county semifinal Saturday at Woodridge Sports Complex at 12 p.m. It has been 15 years since the team has gotten this far. The varsity baseball team just qualified for the prestigious Bergen County tournament for the 4th year in a row, as well as finishing second place in league play after graduating 9 seniors from a 3-time league championship team. They currently have a 10-10 record with a very young team that starts 1 senior, 2 juniors, 5 sophomores, and 2 freshmen. Coach Papetti is extremely excited about the future of the program moving forward with what they have coming back. Also, on Tuesday, May 20th, they have a great opportunity to play on the campus of Montclair State University at Yogi Berra Stadium versus Bergenfield at 6 p.m. If anyone would like to go, admission is free. That is all we have to report tonight. Thank you for your time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your report. Very well, and to conclude my report, I am very excited to welcome Mr. Savino and the Honors Civic class for a Project Citizen presentation. You may know that this is a program that has garnered both state and national recognition. We're very proud of it, and thank you for joining us this evening. Once you're all set up from a technology standpoint, we'd love to hear the presentation.
All right, how are we on? Okay. All right, well, thank you so much for having us tonight. It's a real pleasure to come before the board again. It's been a while since I've been here. And I ask for your patient indulgence. Most of the young minds behind me have never done this kind of thing before, so you could expect a few nerves here and there. But I will be controlling their presentation from the back, and these guys are going to be coming up and sharing their thoughts with you on their Project Citizen project from this year. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Project Citizen presentation labeled Reduce the Stress and Get More Rest. The last initiative, Sleep for Success. So, introduction. My name is Brian Mateo, and I'm with the Problem Destruction Group, aka Problem Group 1. And I'm with also Martin and Oliver. So, the nature of our problem. The nature of our problem is that because of current school start times, it causes, stress and lots of nerves and lots of bad things to happen. We're trying to stop that, to identify and describe that problem. And also, we got here through many class discussions, including Google Forms, and we also learned about various different issues, such as jury duty, which is pictured right there.
Good evening. My name is Oliver Kerbali, and I'm here to be talking about the effects of early school start times and study. You see, the number of hours students should be getting is 8 to 12. However, as shown there, they are getting way less and is affecting their physical and mental health. A study in 2011 shows more early morning car crashes were conducted by early school start times, as well as poor academic performance and increased student substance abuse, such as vaping.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Martin Ramirez. In 2019, our governor, Phil Murphy, started a pilot program involving 4 different school districts to the south. They tested out later school start time schedules. The data from the study was released in 2024 and showed many positive results. So further study has been recommended, but we know that it's on our state's radar and bills have been proposed that will make our state, New Jersey, follow California and Florida in mandating later school start time schedules.
The Alternative Policies Group is made up of our chairperson Caleb, our vice chairperson Simran, and our other two group members Samuel and Daniela. Our job is to identify the alternative policies and programs for later school start times. Well, what's currently being done? Studies from various sources show that later school start times can improve a student's academic performance, but earlier school start times can negatively impact a student's academic performance.
Good evening. My name is Daniela Ciccarini, and there are many examples of states changing their later school start time schedules. For example, Minneapolis. Minneapolis in 1997 implemented a law that changed the school start times to later. The law made the school start time all the way to 8:40 a.m. So this just shows if Minneapolis is able to do this successfully, so can we. And next example is California. California passed a law in 2019 for the 2022 and 2023 school year, which made all middle schools required to start time at school at 8 o'clock a.m., no earlier, and high schools to start no earlier than 8:30 a.m. And this made California the first ever state in the nation to ever mandate later school start times. And then Florida. In 2023, Florida passed a law similar to California, practically the same, which will go effective in July 1st of 2026. And then Des Moines, Iowa. In 2018, Des Moines, Iowa public schools implemented later school start times for high schools. This made the school start times for high schools in Des Moines from 8:25 a.m. in the morning to 3:25 p.m. dismissal. Throughout the years, many other states, including ours, all either had bills or still have bills related to later school start times, either under discussion or being researched. And those are the states on the board over there.
Good evening. My name is Simran Panja. The Tenafly Middle School starts at 8:23 a.m. and ends at 2:57 p.m. They have 11 periods and each period is 44 minutes long. They have also 6 lunch periods, which are 22 minutes each. The high school starts at 8:10 a.m. and ends at 3:11 p.m. They also have 6 58-minute periods. They have days A through E, with day E having an even later school start time. The Ridgewood High School starts at 8:20 a.m. and ends at 3:05 p.m.
Other examples include Orange High School, and they start at 8:30 a.m. and they end at 3:30 p.m. The South Orange Middle School schedule starts at 8:20 and they end at 2:45. The IZA Institute of Labor Economics Studies on later school start time shows that lower level students see most overall improvements in their academic performance more than any other group of students. A 1-hour delay showed that the test grades improved by 2.3%, as well as other well-known benefits.
Hello, everybody. My name is Reggie Sassman, and I am vice chairperson of class policy group. So our contribution to this goal was to go through policy stances and action calls. We want the board to consider a later school start time pilot study, and after doing many surveys and consulting with districts like Tenafly, we like to see a trial that would go on from a year or two, and shooting for the times 8:20 to 8:30. So you, the elected board, would resemble our legislative group, and you, Dr. Vespignani, would resemble our executive group. So we would seriously like you guys to consider this later school start time initiative. For the pros, we believe that there would be many benefits following along physically, mentally, and academically towards the students. And this has been shown in research from the University of Minnesota. However, of course, there would also be disruption in home rhythms, extracurriculars, and transportation as well. Hello, my name is Sanam Hafizi, and for our second initiative, we should consider Tenafly's middle and high school schedules, especially the middle school one. Because of the fact we are a conjoined middle and high school, we need one schedule that is consistent and works with us, and the middle school does exactly that. The start time is also pretty good, approximately 8:30.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Arian Gashi, and here is the high school schedule of Tenafly. So it usually starts around 8:24 a.m. and it ends at 3:11 p.m.
Hello, my name is Daisy Kinje, and in this picture, it shows Tenafly's middle school schedule. The students attending starts at 8:27 a.m. and ends at 2:57 p.m. This is a very good schedule to follow.
So as you can see here, the legislative branch and the Board of Education are there to help develop and carry out a later school start time. And after, with all that help, the superintendent of Tenafly, Michael Ben David, would be a very good consultant for a later school start time.
Some of the pros for a later school start time is more rest will lead to better concentration, memory, and recall for greater success, such as better quizzes and test outcomes. Next, we will most likely see a reduction in tardiness and absences, and students might even have time to eat a healthy breakfast if school starts later. Too many students cram an unhealthy snack in their mouth during homeroom. Now I'm going to discuss some of the cons. Of course, changes to home and travel schedules are expected, as well as impacts on all after-school activities, which affects teachers and staffs. A post-change survey done after 1 year by Tenafly, as shared with Mr. Savino by phone call, showed that all adjustments were made and all stakeholders were happy.
If most elementary schools start at 8:42 with an 8:50 late bell, how are older students going to be able to drop off their younger siblings without some breakfast curriculum, which starts at around 8:10? Elementary students are not able to enter elementary schools before adult supervision is available, and after-school pickups with later school start times with high schools are not really affected. Parents should be able to get used to later school start times with high schools, just like how they are with elementary schools. Tenaflies and other schools across the nation have been able to debunk problems with sports because of the fact that sports are performed indoors, under lights, at night, etc. Schools have actually seen positive impacts on sports instead. And this isn't a matter of will, this is a matter of biology. Sleep-deprived teens having to drive to school every day for responsibility is like telling drunk drivers to go start driving and be responsible about it. Just because something should be done later, like maybe you're gonna have to wake up earlier to go to work, does not mean it should be done now. Like telling teens to deprive themselves of sleep to prepare for the real world is like telling toddlers to not take naps because they're preparing for 5th grade. It's a weak argument.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. We are Portfolio Group 4, or the Action Steps Group. We are made up of Isabella, Ian, myself, Elliot, and our teammate Gabby, who was unable to attend. This group focuses on the steps we've already taken and those that we still need to take to achieve our goals of later school start times. After polling parents, identifying, researching, and learning about our top issues, we sent lobbying letters to you, leaders of our local school district, and members of the state legislature. We're now presenting to you our local school board and our wonderful superintendent. In order to achieve our goal, we might need the help of students from District 37. Thankfully, we have the contact of State Senator Gordon M. Johnson, Assemblywoman Ellen J. Parks, and Assemblywoman Shama A. Hayter. These legislators share a common office in Englewood and are therefore easily accessible. Assemblywoman Shama A. Hayter will be meeting with both of our honors classes next week on May 20th. We hope to help her sponsor a bill to mandate later school start times, just as California and Florida have done before. Thank you, and Ian will now take over.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Ian Cho. We have the contact information for both Tenafly and Ridgewood Public Schools, which of course is available upon request or online. Of course, you, the school board district leaders, are the most important contacts. We are privileged to be presenting before you tonight, Dr. Martinez and Dr. Vespignani and the whole school board.
Good evening. My name is Isabella Everts, and I will be discussing who will be on our side. A number of nationally recognized organizations like the CDC, adolescent students, parents, most of them, health institutions such as the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the American Academy of Pediatrics. Who may our opponents be? They may include school administrators, parents with early work schedules, bus companies concerned with the logistical challenges, cost, and impact on daily routines. To address these concerns, we suggest consulting with districts where this has previously been successful, and we need to work together to address the concerns of all stakeholders and provide a well-planned and well-implemented plan.
To move forward, we made our voice heard now to you, the school board, and presented research on the benefits of starting school later. We'd encourage you to survey the high school students and community and consult with other districts that have made the change and see how we can do the same. Thanks a lot for listening to our presentation, and we hope we've moved you to consider action on the policy initiative. Thank you.
Mr. Savino and your students, let me be the first to say how much I appreciate your very thoughtful presentation regarding the later school start times. Your civic engagement through Project Citizen is commendable. And in terms of the presentation, I'm sure we'll hear from some board members alike. Thorough, clear, well organized. You did a really excellent job, and it was really wonderful to have you here this evening. So I really appreciate you coming out to share your presentation. And you had actually noted quite a few superintendents who I've known for quite some time. So I'd be happy to reach out. And in the event that this is something that as a district we'd like to pursue, Dr. Mark Schwartz, Dr. Gerald Fitzhugh of Orange, and you noted Superintendent Michael Ben David of Tenafly. These are all superintendents who I've known for many, many years and will be valuable consultants, as you said, in the event that this is something we wanted to pursue. So this concludes my superintendent's report, but I want to turn it over to President Martinez and any board members for comments on the presentation.
Any board members like to ask any questions or make any comments?
I would like to, first of all, that was very, very impressive. You should all be very proud of yourself. You did a phenomenal job. I'm taken back because you answered every question I was coming up with, and then you hit me with the answer. So you left me with no real nothing really to say, except for, wow, you did a wonderful job. I expect nothing less from Mr. Savino's class. I know that, he does a wonderful job in the class, but you, even if you're not getting what you want in the end game, you're still learning to use your voice, which is extremely powerful, okay? And you could speak up. You know, often, a lot of times people raise their voice when they're trying to get a point across, but you shouldn't raise your voice, you should raise your argument. And you went in well-informed, you got the data together, and you were very organized, and you guys did great. Boys and girls did a wonderful job. You should be very proud of yourself. Thank you for that.
I wanted to echo what trustee Cooney said. Excellent job by the entire class on the presentation. And I was just hopeful that we could get a copy of that presentation so that we've got it and can go through it a little bit slower. But thank you for your presentation and keep advocating for yourself. It's important.
First, Mr. Savino and your students, you did a spectacular job. My only question is, how do we say no to them?
Yeah, I'd like to just echo, I don't think, am I on? I don't think, I guess I'd like to just echo what everybody else is saying, that this was a really impressive presentation by all of you. And the only question I can think of is something that came before your presentation. I'm just curious how you come up with which advocacy project you're going to work on as a group. If anybody can answer that, I don't know.
So to come to what we were going to choose as a topic, we polled parents around our community and asked them what community issues do we believe are relevant to them. Most of them suggested later school start times, and then we polled students in our grade to ensure and make sure what our topic is going to be. Thank you.
Trustee Rodriguez?
I just want to say, Mrs. Savino and students, you guys are just amazing. You were very well prepared. You provided data, and you gave the information needed to hopefully make a decision or even continue to talk about this as a board. But you guys were very well prepared. You articulated your concerns, you addressed the issue, problems, possible solution. You gave us resources. You did an amazing job.
Trustee Schmidt?
Everybody said you guys were so impressive. I wrote it down in my notes right away. So impressed by all of you and your speaking skills. That's a very hard thing to do. It's harder than it looks. And I was, like, what grade are they in? Because that was really, really great job. And I love that we have a civics class. Civics is one of my favorite things. And I said to President Martinez before you guys started, I knew what the topic was. I said, well, statistics say that later start times is better academics. And sure enough, you brought the data, you brought the statistics, which was great. And you convinced me. And I would also say that teachers, although you might have a few teachers and students who aren't in favor of a later start time, I would bet there's a lot of teachers that would be, especially those who have long commutes and have young children, because they've got it really tough. I personally know a lot of teachers who have to get up as early as 5 a.m. and leave their own children super early. So I can only imagine with a 7:30 or so start time, how hard that could be for a lot of teachers. So I think it would be a great change in my opinion. I fully support it, and great job.
Thank you. It sounds like Trustee Schmidt wants to join your advocacy group. I'll say I've been on the board for a long, long time, and I've had a lot of people go up to that podium and use various techniques to try to sway the board in one direction or another. And this was by far the most impressive thing I've seen at that podium in the entire time that I've been here. I have to admit that when I got the letter, I said, oh, this letter's cute. It's an initiative and it was well written and well researched. But I said, it's a cute idea. And I have to admit that I'm very moved And as the presentation went on, I kept on thinking like, maybe this is possible. And maybe we can do a pilot, maybe we can do a small thing, and maybe we could do it at the high school, maybe just the middle school, maybe in the future. And so if your goal was to open our eyes to an initiative, you've done that. I'll say if your goal is to provide an example of how the community can get together and advocate and speak to each other rather than yell at each other, you've done that. And I think it's also an example for us here as decision makers that we should keep our ears open and take information from everybody who comes up to the podium. So thank you very much. Oh, student representative.
I just wanted to add that me and Zoe were in this very class all those years ago when we were in 7th grade, and we did it through Zoom during quarantine. And now we're promoting those very ideas in student government as seniors that we vouched for all those years ago. So I just wanted to say that if you have an idea, keep going with what you believe in, because you can end up in student government too.
Thank you all. Now, given that we don't have late start times, you guys need to get to bed. We should probably move on with some business here.
We're going to excuse them, I think, so they
Yeah.
can, they can do that.
Yes, thank you for joining. We'll excuse
Yeah,
Ms.
everybody.
Discuss and our student reps as well. Thank you.
We do not have a report from the state monitor. However, he has told us that he plans to be here, or his representative will be here in the June meeting to release the district from state monitorship. So we greatly look forward to that. Clap, yep. It's been a long ride. We will now listen to citizens' comments on agenda. Please keep to the generous 5 minutes. We have Dr. Mercedes Haynes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, good evening, all. It's nice to see all of you. These are the nice things that happen when you're a board member. The 12 years that I spent on the board, all the nice things brought smiles to all our faces. And it still continues because we are all here to help students succeed. That's our number one goal. So tonight I come as a fellow board member, former, and also a concerned citizen, because I do live here in town. I have for 40 years. And Dr. Martinez did mention the taxes keep going up. So I know that Richfield Park has become a totally different community, but I'll take that up in a few seconds. My first concern is that, Dr. Martinez, one of your first meetings, I remember you had said that we were going to stop the nonsense that was continuing here in our district, which is to hire family members, correct? I forgot what meeting that was. So I'm just a little concerned because you did mention transparency, and I'm all for transparency, but I also know how the board works, and I know the ins and outs. Tonight on the agenda for the new hires are any, would you happen to know? Let me rephrase it, because we're really not allowed to talk about personnel. So any of the new hires that you know, are there any relatives that presently are employed in our district? Because if we want to be transparent and we want to stop that, then when is it going to stop? Would you happen to know that answer?
I'll take your questions and then I'll answer them all.
Oh, okay. Fabulous. Okay. And I also am not sure if diversity is being addressed in the hiring. Our faces have changed within the community. When I started here, when my kids, excuse me, they're already grown adults. But when we started here, this was a very white community. Now we see the different faces, and they're nice faces because that's the way the world goes. And this is not the only district that's facing a population change all around us in Bergen County. So I know that this board was very concerned about hiring diversity. Have we kept up with that initiative? You can answer that a little bit later as well. This question is for our superintendent, Dr. Vespignani. Can you break down the current Hispanic population? How many Latinos are presently in our district? How many white and how many Asian are in our district? I know the numbers have grown. They've grown considerably. Now, because the numbers have grown, our scores have also gone up and down. And I did look at Mrs. Triglia's presentation from July 24th, 2024. And I know we're trying to up the scores. This is not the only district that's facing that issue because of the population boom. So I'm hoping that our scores can be a little better than I saw on that presentation. You'll have to forgive me. My husband and I have been traveling, so you might have addressed this already in previous board meetings. I just wasn't available. I know that when she did a comparison from 22 to 24 in math, we did pretty well, considering. ELA in Hispanic, the Hispanic population, 31.6 in 22, then we went up a little bit, 76.6 in 23 and 22.2 in 24. The Asian group, we did well. The Black group, we also did pretty well yearly. The white group, we started at 37.3, then we went to 82, which was fantastic, but then we went down, 79. And the economically disadvantaged, 40.7, then 79.8, 70, and then 70.8, also went down. IEPs, 6.7.
Dr. Haynes, can I just interrupt you? Because you're putting out a lot of numbers and not just time, but you're putting out numbers which might be better addressed in the email. I'm not holding any of these numbers in my head.
No, that's all right. You don't have to. Yeah, I just want to tie it in.
Okay.
So I just want you to listen. That's fine. Okay. The IEP group also started off low. And then by 24, it was still low, 25. So the reason I bring out these numbers is because I know the Latino group or the Hispanic group has grown considerably in this town. And we probably have, like in the district where I'm presently helping out as superintendent, students with IEPs and multi-language learners. And, you know, I would like to see a little more diversity in teachers. That ties back to them. And the hiring of that, because it's beneficial for the students, especially the multi-language learners. There's a lot to cover. And even Dr. V mentioned it in his bio, which is on the website, that he made scores Zoom within 3 years, correct? You had a very successful 3 years in upping those scores.
Is this part on it? I'm hate to interrupt, but is this part on agenda? The first question seemed like it was on agenda, but is this part on agenda?
Well, I guess the part about the hiring and the new hires is on agenda, right? This is on agenda. So everything is going to tie back to that. If we don't hire teachers who are familiar with our students and speak the language, then we are at a disadvantage. There are certain things that need to be put in place for multi-language learners, and this district has many multi-language learners. And I don't know. I want you to answer if we're hiring staff that knows Spanish, that can help the students, so that these scores can be raised, so we could be successful in all categories, right? Like Dr. V was in his previous district within 3 years, and that's what we want to see.
Okay.
We can't continue to blame COVID. That's off the table. So the hiring of people, teachers who are not well-versed with multi-language learners is a problem,
Okay, but we're gonna
right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead, and then I'll come up a little bit later.
We're gonna see if we have a couple of hands raised.
Oh.
So I know you haven't been to a board meeting in a while, but what we're doing is people make their comments. And at the end of all the comments, Dr. Vespignani or I give responses, but we don't really do a dialogue back and forth. If you'd like to, I'll wait around after the meeting and we can talk as much, or you can send an email and get it to the rest of the board.
Yeah.
But we don't do a kind of back and forth.
Yeah,
So
I'm just concerned that if, you had mentioned,
Your concerns, every concern, like, I'm trying to agree with you, but
yeah,
you
well,
gotta let me answer.
I'm concerned that if we go back to hiring employees that have family within the district, then we're starting all the way back, right?
I wrote that down. I'm gonna answer it. but
We're
you-
going backwards
gotta let me
instead of
answer.
forward. Yeah.
Yes, and then we
So-
have some people who've been waiting also.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I think I see Janet Malou.
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, yes.
Okay. That was an awesome presentation. And I found it very interesting because I know this has been looked at by lots of districts. And going way back when I was in high school in New York City, in Brooklyn, my start time as a ninth grader entering the high school was at 10 a.m. It was 9:45 actually, and I think we got out at 4 o'clock. It was done because of overcrowding, but I know it can be done. But as they did point out, there are also drawbacks. And one of them, I know when my district researched it years and years ago, was even something that they didn't mention, at least I didn't hear it, when there are students that do have jobs after school. And if they're not getting out till 3:30 or 4, it can impact that. And in some cases, there are students that need to have that job in order to help the family out or whatever the situation might be, or save for college. The other thing is if we're looking at something like that, and I'm not proposing this, I'm just throwing it out there. Most elementary kids, I know, most little ones are up at the crack of dawn. And by the time they get to high school, that's when they're sleeping in. So does that mean if we change the high school and the junior high school hours that we also lower the elementary hours? You know, these are all things that have to be considered. One of the comments about parents and work, I know I left here at 7 a.m. in the morning. I needed daycare every day for that purpose. It's pros and cons. I know teachers that I worked with, or actually their children I worked with, who worked in the city and from Rockland County to the city, they used to leave at 6 a.m. in the morning to beat traffic. So there are lots of pros and cons with this. And I'm not totally convinced, although it's a good argument, that starting school a half hour later is going to make that much of a difference. If you said we're going to start at 9:30, then possibly. But it was done, the research on it was phenomenal. And that really goes to say what kind of level of work is being done in our district. And I, for one, was fascinated by some of the comments that were that they came out with. And the fact that this is going to be ongoing, judging by they're going to have, speakers come in to talk to the classroom. And this is what I think education today really needs to be. Not sitting and doing hours and hours of testing, but actually dig into ways of changing
Ms. Malou,
how people
I don't want
think.
you to run out of time for comments on agenda, because I know you were just making an observation about the presentation. But did you
Yes,
also
I
have a
was.
question on agenda?
No, I thought that was on agenda.
All right, then I guess I'll let you finish.
Okay, so, and I will come back on a little later on off agenda. So, anyway, it was a phenomenal presentation and kudos to the kids and the teaching staff that did it.
Thank you, Ms. Malou.
Bye-bye.
Anybody else to elevate? Okay, so I'll close comments off agenda, but I'll answer a couple of the questions that Dr. Mercedes had. Yeah. I think, you give me an opportunity about nepotism, because the reason I ran for the board was because I felt like the problem in this district that was bringing us down was nepotism. And nepotism is often confused, because nepotism means that you give somebody a job because you know them, right? Which is very different than giving somebody who's highly qualified a job that you happen to know. And so I'm very convinced, and so is the board, that the hiring practices in this district are completely different now. People are hired because they're the most qualified. This board still does their due diligence. They Google everybody to see who's connected, but way before they know the names, I can tell you that if Dr. Vespignani knows that this person is related to anybody in the district, it's told to us up front. If Dr. Vespignani knows that someone is related to anyone in the district, we are told that right up front. So-and-so is related to so-and-so, so-and-so was here for a long time, so-and-so, because of the confidence he has in that he's hiring the best person for the job. Now, the good thing that we have now is that I don't, and the board doesn't get any information on first interviews, second interviews, who's applying, none of that. The first time we hear a name is when it's put on the agenda. It's same with any type of disciplinary action or anything. I might be told what the dynamics are about a situation, but I don't even ask the name, because I don't need to know, because I'm not going to protect anybody and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. So sorry? We also don't pass on names. When we first got on the board, one board member went to another board member and said, "Here, what do you think about this guy for a math position?" This board, as long as I've been president, has not hired anybody. We do not hire, we don't interview, we don't suggest, we don't recommend. It's totally by the book. It's why we lean toward getting a superintendent with such good HR chops. So the reason we haven't been sued and the reason our legal bills are about 50% is because we are now hiring the best person for the job. Okay? Now, if the person is homegrown and they're the best person for the job, that's a win-win. That's a win-win. Somebody who cares about the community, somebody who grew up here. I got the reputation of not liking people from Richfield Park because I was anti-nepotism. I am not anti-Richfield Park. I'm anti-nepotism. I love it when somebody comes from this town and is highly qualified and is committed to the kids of this district and has friends and grew up here and actually still lives here. I love it. That's a win-win. So in terms of nepotism, when we do recognize a name, when Dr. Vespiani, who's not from this town, if he gets wind that someone is related to somebody, completely transparent. So your answer is the board knew early, as soon as the agenda was sent out, that one of our candidates is a homegrown candidate and also crushed it on the interview. Okay, so in terms of diversity, I know that there are certain limits on, for example, I am one of the few Spanish-speaking psychologists in the VA system. I think I should get paid more because I think I bring a skill that other people don't have, right? I speak a language, and that's an extra skill. But that's really not how hiring is done. Anyway, you can't require it. On the applications, it says, to my knowledge, I don't know the exact wording, but it says bilingual preferred or Spanish-speaking preferred. I have noticed that Dr. V, when he has a candidate that has some sort of diversity in their background, meaning they worked in in corporate America before they came to us. They had other jobs. They were in the military. They speak another language. They come from another culture. Dr. Vespiani is very keen at what that might bring to our students. They worked on the college level in a counselor that was hired a while ago. So in terms of diversity, like, we can't swap out our staff based on a changing demographic that happened in the past 10 years. That you can't. People work here, they're doing a good job, but we can be mindful of that in hiring. So I share your concerns. I'm glad you brought them up because you gave me an opportunity to speak about the processes that we have in practice right now. The last thing I'll say is in terms of our grades, again, when I first got on the board, I was told that the reason our test scores were low was because of a changing demographic in this town. I didn't accept that then. Our job is to teach whoever comes in the door, whoever's paying taxes. So I don't accept it then, I don't accept it now. This board accepts it now. Whoever comes through the door, we have to educate and we have to help them with their test scores. So the issue of what the demographic here, and we have to do it through ELA, we have to do it through helping our LML population, helping our special ed population. That's what this board is committed to. So in the past, there was a big distraction because we were taking care of adults. This board is fully committed to taking care of kids first. But thank you for the question.
Thank you, President Martinez, and good to see you, Dr. Haynes. I know we exchanged some emails regarding some of these topics. Happy to expand a bit more. You had asked some specific questions that I'm happy to address. First, I suppose in regard to our hiring process, I've implemented a very thorough, objective process that administrators are required to lead, which includes multiple rounds, performance tasks, and ultimately they recommend the candidate who they feel is the best for our students here in RP. So in terms of, diversity and hiring, I'm pleased to kind of point you in the right direction in terms of things that I've implemented here. First, on our district website and the employment tab, I've included some language because the employment tab is one of the first places where candidates may interface with the district. And if you are not recruiting in terms of what you are seeking, then that interfacing, you're losing an opportunity. So what I've added to the website is that the district prides itself on the diversity of its student body and is committed to fostering a culturally responsive staff. Applicants from diverse backgrounds are strongly encouraged to apply. So that language is now upfront on the website, did not exist prior to my arrival here. In addition, you may recall, as I've presented publicly, we actually, it's a shame that we excused our student reps because in my first year here, we worked with the student government to develop some internal questions. The product recruiting and hiring frontline, the platform that we use, about 70% of districts utilize that in New Jersey. It comes standard with 3 generic questions. As an example, what are the outstanding attributes of a teacher? Very plain, very genetic, and in most cases, candidates who are applying to multiple districts have the opportunity to cut and paste. However, here, we've developed 3 specific questions unique to Richfield Park. That way, again, when candidates are interfacing with our online platform, they understand what's important. I'd like to draw your attention to one of those questions, which is to provide an example of how you have recognized and celebrated the diversity within your classroom or within your experiences. So candidates are required to respond to that upfront as part of our hiring process, even before anyone is called into an interview. So we review that, and that's actually a question that I always review with the finalists as part of my process, because that's something that for our students is very important to us here in RP. You had asked about student data and staff data. I would point you in the direction of the New Jersey Student Performance Reports, which can easily be researched online. You had asked about some specific numbers in terms of the enrollment. At present, well, I should say the latest data that we have is 23-24. The white population of students specifically is 7.9, Hispanic 67, Black or African American 5.1, and Asian 7.6. 2 or more races, 1.8. You had mentioned Hispanic. In terms of this data goes back by 2 years. So in 21-22, it was 65.7, and again, 23-24, it was 67%. So as you indicated, we are aware that we do have a growing Hispanic population. You had mentioned my previous experiences. Yes, it is accurate that when I was an elementary school principal in the Hoboken Public Schools, very proud to share that for 3 consecutive years, we attained over 90% proficiency on the then state test being PARC and then NJSLA. This was in a school with a 56% Hispanic population and 60% economically disadvantaged. Quite frankly, the proficiency that we were able to achieve and our students were able to achieve is uncommon. And I'm simply trying to do that at scale here in Richfield Park. But as I've mentioned many, many times, change takes time. So we do need patience. We do need to work diligently. We are very aware of our student performance data, as you indicated, presented by Ms. Triglia. Our principals are aware of their own data, and we're implementing strategies and goals annually to be able to increase student performance. But again, the change takes time. And realistically, it's a culture shift within the manner in which we're doing things. And I'm sure you understand as your work at Fairleigh Dickinson University, one of the other items that I've been able to implement here is a very thorough process to vet student teachers. And very proud that actually from FDU, we've taken on quite a few student teachers, not just at that college or university. And that serves as a great recruiting mechanism because actually we've recommended some of those student teachers for board approval as well. The last point I wanted to share is just in terms of the homegrown piece. I did a lot of research on this in my previous district, serving as executive director of personnel. I had increased staff diversity by 13%. By the very areas that I had just shared with you, with communication on the website, internal applications. We're also very active at college career fairs. I've personally attended 2 this year. We've attended 4 overall. That gives us an opportunity to network and interface with various colleges and universities, and also getting right in front of diverse candidates, which is really, really great. The piece about the homegrown talent, all of my research and what the literature will tell you is that actually a homegrown program, right, is the #1 way to increase the diversity of your staff. In other words, if we have a 67% Hispanic population, and we develop programs to steer those students into a career in education. And ultimately, if they do their student teaching here and we retain them here, then quite possibly and theoretically, that would lend itself to increasing the diversity of our staff. So all of these things are put in motion. Again, I appreciate your comments. I hope that I've been able to clarify a few of those points. And if there's anything else, I'd be happy to exchange a few emails with you. Thank you.
I'll also close just by buttressing this conversation because as a person of, sorry, I just want to buttress this conversation by saying, as a person of color, I don't want to be hired because I'm diverse. Away here, okay. Oh, right here. This is probably better. I don't want to be hired because I'm a brown person. That's never been my goal. I want to be hired because I'm the most qualified person for the job. And whatever other diversities I have in experience or background or language are a plus. And so I feel comfortable when I hear Dr. Vespignani speak about the candidates, that he's looking for who's most qualified And the diversity, the diversity aspects, whether it's in background, ethnicity, language, all those other things, those are extras that come along. But the bottom line is the person has to be qualified. And I'll be honest with you, that wasn't a criteria here. We weren't looking for diversity in any sort, and we really weren't looking for a criteria of excellence. If people were excellent, they got hired here, they were lucky to be hired. It wasn't because they were, in my opinion, it wasn't because they were excellent that they were hired. They were hired in spite of that sometimes. So with that, we'll close that. Oh, no. Wow. I feel like the president. Agenda items. Trustee Orth, please move policy and regulations 901.
I so move policy 901.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments on policy and regulations 901? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orr,
Yes.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Kraft, can you please move faculty and programs 1001 to 1010, including 1011 new business?
Make a motion to move FP 1001 and FP 1010 along with new business FP 11.
Second.
Any questions or comments on faculty and programs? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Coonigan?
Ms. Rodriguez, I skipped you, sorry.
That one was off. I just rolled with it. That was a yes?
Yes to all, abstention on 1001.
Thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Trustee Cooney, can you please move buildings and grounds?
Resolution 11.01, I so move.
Second.
Jenny was second. Any questions or comments on buildings and grounds? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yeah.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolution passes. Trustee McNeil, can you please move finance and insurance 1201 to 1218?
I move 1201 through 1218.
Second.
Mr. Malou is second. Can I have a roll call? Sorry, any questions or comments on finance and insurance? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Malou, can you please move consent agenda 1301?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd like to move consent agenda item number 1301.
Second.
Any questions or comments on consent agenda? Seeing none, can I have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. Trustee Rodriguez, would you please move personnel 1401 to 1425 and new business 1426?
Sure. I so move personnel agenda items 1401 through 1425 and 1426.
Second.
Any questions or comments on personnel? No? I'll just wish good luck to all our resignees. Thank you for your service to this district. May I please have a roll call?
Mr. Cooney,
Yes.
Ms. Kraft,
Yes.
Ms. McNeil,
Yes.
Mr. Malou,
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Yes.
Ms. Schmidt,
Yes.
Ms. Orth,
Yes.
President Martinez.
Yes, and the resolutions pass. We will now listen to citizens' comments off agenda. And again, I would ask you to keep to the generous 5-minute limit and respect the board's attempt to be mindful and deliberate in addressing your concerns. Dr. Haynes?
Thank you. This mic is better than Dr. Martinez's mic. That's a bad mic. Okay, so one of the other reasons I was concerned about the hiring was the fact that I had mentioned last year, I think it was, to Dr. V, how we need more administrative assistants that do speak Spanish, especially when students arrive here down at the high school and at the elementary schools as well. It's important to make them feel welcome into our community. And I'm glad to see that that is happening in dribs and drabs in each of the schools. I don't know now about the high school because, my kids are grown and out of here. But I do hope that continues, where we can welcome these new students and their families to our village. It's very important. So you need to speak another language. I guess this question is for Dr. V. I remember last year, I was on the committee, that parent committee, and if I remember correctly, Ms. Rodriguez from the high school was going to provide professional development in the area of ESL. I don't know, Mrs. Rodriguez, do you remember something to that effect? I know she had told me because we had an ESL meeting in the library. So do you know that if that's still continuing and if she's providing professional development to not only new staff members who have ML learners in their class, but the rest of the teaching staff, especially when it comes to scaffolds where they build so that they can be successful? Was it? Oh,
That's the last question?
that's the last question.
Okay.
I promise.
We have Janet Malou to elevate.
Oh.
Ms. Malou? Hi, Ms. Malou, you're muted right now. Ms. Malou, you're up. There you
Can you hear me?
go. Yes.
Okay, now I can. Last night I was pleased to see Mr. Katta and Dr. Vespiani and also John Malul come to an event at the municipal building. We, the Arts Association, Ridgefield Park Arts Association, was approached by the Roosevelt School art teacher, Angelina Niebuhr, about partnering to put on a kindergarten through second grade art show in the municipal building. And as many of you know, in the past, we have put on multiple different artist shows, and we agreed to take this on. And I can't even put into words the joy I had watching as her students came into the lobby of the municipal building on the side street, and they saw her standing there waiting to greet them with little stickers that we put on them to identify our exhibiting artists, as they were called. And in putting the show together, she literally explained how she had portfolios for the children. And I mean, who ever heard of portfolios in kindergarten? And I just, she did a bang up job. And I really hope that the entire school community finds time between now and June 10th to get out there and see the work that our youngest students are producing. It was certainly an enjoyable night for many, I'm sure. So that was all I wanted to say. And again, thank you, Dr. Vespiani. And I hope your children enjoyed it. And Mr. Catta for coming down to see the show. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Malou. And with that, I'll close sessions, but Dr. Vespiani will be responding.
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. Yes, our supervisor of world language and MLs this year, well, let me backtrack. Under the guidance of Ms. Trigley, Assistant Superintendent of Schools, all supervisors this year have been required to create departmental goals. And in terms of the supervisor of world language and our multilingual learners, yes, Ms. Rodriguez actually attended across elementary schools all faculty meetings to provide professional development. That is in addition to our annual PSYOP training that has occurred typically in August as well. So yes, we've been active in terms of looking at best practices, developing those goals as it relates to our ML population. And thank you to Ms. Malou. Yes, it was a really wonderful event, and my children did enjoy it. They got to pick out some of their favorite artwork, and I'm hopeful as that event will remain open throughout the course of the next month or so, that community members will be sure to check it out with their children as well.
Thank you, Dr. Vespiani. Sorry. May I please have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved. Second.
Second. I'm assuming all are in favor. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.